Hello, I want to talk to you about the golden section exercise. Before you proceed with this, make sure you've watched all the videos on the golden section, or else you won't know what the heck a golden section is and you'll be completely lost. So make sure you review all the materials on golden section before you get going here. The second thing before we start, when you open your InDesign document that I give you here, it's an InDesign document that has a bunch of elements and materials in it. Instructions are on the first page. But before you get started, it's important that you go to View, Screen Mode, Normal. Okay, so make sure View Screen Mode Normal is enabled. The second thing is you have to be able to see these margin guides, these magenta margin guides. Remember that these magenta margin guides that I'm pointing to here do not get printed. Those are just a guide. So make sure you go to View, Grids and Guides, and at the very top choice there, mine says Hide Guides because I can see it, but you might see this, View, Grids and Guides. If you see the word Show Guides, click on that so we can see this magenta margin. Remember, you're making this for print media, so you have to be aware of the margin. Okay, you don't necessarily, this is a pretty big margin. You should not have type bleeding to the edge. Just keep that in mind as we go. Okay, so what's going on here? I will talk through the instructions, but I want you to read the instructions on page 1. Let me jump ahead to page 4 first so we can kind of see what's going on here. And let me close this so we can see. What I'm giving you is I'm giving you some grids, golden section grids, and elements. I'm giving you some type elements up here and a couple of images. What I want you to do is create a really aesthetically pleasing layout using these elements based on this grid. Let me go back to the Pages palette. Remember, the easiest way to navigate through an InDesign document is by opening the Pages palette and clicking. Let's go to page 2 as an example. You don't have to do anything on page 2, it's already finished. This is just an example. This is a layout based on 2 overlapping golden section grids. So if I open the Layers palette, what I got here is a type and images on one layer, and I got the golden section grid on the top. So if I turn off the eyeball on the golden section grid, you can see this is what the layout looks like. So pretty nice, right? Let me turn the grids back on. Pages palette. Let's go to page 3. This is another example. You don't have to do anything on page 3. It's already completed for you. Once again, the grid is just there as a guide. If it was going to be printed out, would you print out that grid? No, you certainly would not. Let me go to Layers, turn off the eyeball. So this is the layout based on 2 overlapping golden grids and turned at about a 60-degree angle. So it looks pretty nice. The designer was using the angles within the image. Let me turn on the grids again and go back to page 1 just to review some stuff. You're allowed to resize the type. You're allowed to resize the images. You can change the color of the type, and you can change the color of the image if you want to. You can use only one image. You can use part of one image. What you can't do, first of all, you have to use all of the text. All of the type elements I give you, you have to use. You cannot distort or stretch the text. I'm going to repeat that. Do not distort or stretch the type. Don't do that. That's not a good thing. So let's look at the Pages palette here. What do we got? We got the instructions on page 1, example on page 2, and example on page 3. So pages 4, 5, and 6, I want you to make your own layouts. So let's double click on page 4. And so here's all your elements. Now remember, you can change the color of any of these type elements. You can change the color of the images. You don't have to use every image. So let me go to the Layers palette again and enable the golden section grid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, there's 2 grids over here overlapping. I'm going to grab one of the grids, click, hold, and drag it over there. Get it nice and neat on my canvas. Now remember, I could have used this one, I could have used this, I could have flipped this upside down. I can overlap them like the pages 2 and 3 if I wanted to. I'm just going to start with this one, and I'm going to freeform this and kind of ad lib, and we'll see how it goes. First of all, just to get started, I'm going to grab an image, and just to start throwing things in here, I'm going to line up this image, the top of this image, with this grid line here. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, this is pretty cool. Maybe I could have some type down here and have the number 4 up here in this square. I'm just, as I'm doing this as I'm talking, it might not turn out, it might, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So let me grab my number 4. I gotta use all this stuff. I can change the color if I want to. I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, well, maybe this number 4 will fit nice and neat in this little square here, this square. Now it's white on white, that's not going to work. So you come up to here, this is the color, the fill color. Hit the drop down menu, and I'm going to choose black because I'm going to keep life simple here. Remember, you can use any color you want to. Do not distort the type. This has to be bigger for my great creative vision, so I'm going to hold down the shift key, grab a corner, and pull it up to the margin here. And I could go higher, maybe I'll go a little bit higher, and I'll put the tip of the number 4. This is the logic that I'm using. I'm sizing the 4 within this area of the golden section grid. Okay, that's cool. I'm thinking, I wonder if modern design, now, like, another thing to be aware of is vertical alignment. So let me grab this modern design. And again, I don't know if this is going to work or not. It has to be black, so I'm going to go up to the fill, make it black. You can make it registration as well. I'll align it left here, and I'll have the word modern sitting on this grid line. And maybe I might want to align it, pardon me, I'm aligning it left. Jeez, I screwed that up again. I'm aligning it right on this grid line. You know, the N is in modern is aligned with this. That looks kind of stupid. I'm going to align it left with the edge of this 4. So let me grab a guide, stick it in there, pull modern design over, and like maybe I'll size this guy so it fits that area. So we'll see. And then you can go up to the layer. I'm going to go up to the layers palette and turn off my grid line to see if this is looking okay. And to be honest with you, I'm really not thrilled with this at all. But you look at this and you have to get a balanced layout going on. I'm going to put some type down here, and like maybe I think the date has to be more prominent. So let me bring the date in here. I got to change the color. I'll change it to black, and it might look kind of cool if I just maintain this. I distorted the type. Teacher made a boo-boo. Okay, I was holding the wrong key and I distorted the type. Let me grab another guideline, stick it here, and this is just kind of floating, not anchored. I'm not really thrilled with that. And let me grab the other info for this, and I'm gonna align it right with the margin, and whoopsies. Oh, here's a thing. Like, if you are trying to grab something, if you're moving things around, this is good. I made a mistake, and it's cool. It's a learning moment here. Okay, say I want to grab the number 4. Well, I can't because of the grid is on top, on the upper layer. Go to the layers palette. Just lock the golden section layer. I should have done that earlier, actually. And now I'm on type and images. Now I can move all this stuff around. That might be okay. Let's see what... Now see that there's a disparity between this element and this element. I got to figure that out. Maybe the bottom, the baseline of this is in line with the top of the M here. That's a possibility, but let me just turn off the golden section grid and see what I got there. Okay, so this tells me I got a long way to go here. I got things to work on. Even that looks a little bit better. So I could have expanded this image a whole bunch and have it bleed off the edge here. And then, you know, make my type white and put it in there so that you can, this, what you're looking at here, folks, is not a completed layout, but it's just the process that I want you to get used to. One thing that, let me go to page 5 and show you like a different, first I'm going to go to layers, turn on both eyeballs. So what I would do is put your grid, and on page 5 I only have one grid. You can copy the grid and put 2 grids in there, you know, overlapping. That's okay. What I would do is place the grid to where you want it, lock the grid down, enable the type and images layer, and then start moving and coloring elements and so on. So anyway, so what you're going to do is make three layouts based on the golden section. Do your best. Be creative with it. Again, you can use color. Just the biggest rule is don't distort the type. The other rule is not necessarily a rule, but like if you maintain vertical alignment with your elements, life is going to be a lot easier. Like how I have July aligned vertically with the edge of the 4. I have the right edge of the number 4 aligned vertically with modern design. And also the 5, end of the 5 is aligned vertically with modern design. Vertical alignment, just keep your vertical alignment. Be conscious of vertical alignment, and I'm going to repeat vertical alignment again, and your layouts will fall together much easier.